speaking about morality.
Right.
He now believes morality is objective. So we've had that conversation. We went back and forth. He's changed my views, and I've changed his views. And so this is a big thing. And the point being is that even if we didn't agree, like I think Matt still goes with compatibilism. Even if we don't, can still have a conversation, can still go places. There's no need for it to end in some kind of spiteful conflict.
Right. That's the important. Like today, for some reason, I think that people have forgotten how to have like a conversation. And I kept seeing your interactions with that, and I'm like, wow, they were able to have sort of a back and forth, which was very productive for both of you.
Yeah.
And people can learn from that. I think today people are so quick to something they don't agree with and just shut it off.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's largely the biggest problem we have. Something I'm going to say tomorrow on stage, but I really do feel that while we've outgrown religion, we are still tethered to religious thinking.
Sure.
The try is still there. You see it in politics. In England, with Brexit, you see it with left and right, and you see it with Trump, and you see it with Hillary. It's just toxic situation where people have forgot how to have real conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to deliberately, for a good while on my channel, really show that that's wrong and that you can disagree with someone without being enemies.
Sure.
Wonderful that I can say I've had that experience with Matt Dillahunty, had it with Alex O'Connor, and hopefully I can have it with many more people, because that's the only conversations where it's just you can't have a conversation that shuts it down. It doesn't matter what they shut it down for. It's just because I could be wrong on something. I mean, I am. I'm a mammalian ape. I'm going to be wrong on stuff. I have been many a times before. What convinces me is when someone comes up to me and actually wants a conversation and doesn't almost straw man my positions because they're angry with me. It's like you're changed my mind, and it does happen. If someone comes up and they're very, you are far right, or might be.
Right.
I'm a human. My natural reaction is going to be like, I'm not listening.
Absolutely.
It will then have to come from someone else, or it will have to come from another time.
I agree.
So yeah.
What's been how has your content changed over since you started and to where you are now? Like, what has been sort of art for you?
Good question. So when I started, I wanted to take all the major arguments and just break them down and show where policies are committed and where they're wrong. And I still do this.
Mm-hmm.
It moved into an area where I wanted to comment on religious apologetics and where that's going and what we as the non-religious can do and where to spot certain tricks.
Mm-hmm.
This is strong rhetoric, but it's not true, or hang on, look, they're moving this goalpost, and so we need to recognize this. You can't employ the same old arguments if they're not actually the same old rebuff have actually changed their arguments slightly.
Sure.
So it's moved into that area, which is where I had commentary on Jordan Peterson and stuff like that, which at the beginning was really controversial. I didn't think it would be. I just heard Jordan speaking. I didn't hear what he had to say in politics, where there's things I agree with him on. He's not an idiot by any means.
Right.
But I only heard what he had to say on religion, and when I heard it on that, I was just like, this is just wrong. So I make the video, and it turns out it's controversial.
Yeah. I can imagine the fanboys come after you.
So yeah, my ultimate plan is just to improve people's skeptical capacity, like improve conversation. So you do thing on what's publicly current, what's actually happening.
Right.
And it just gets more traffic, it gets more interest than in here actually using.
Right.
It's from the 16th century.
Sure.
No one's interested in that. They want to see it in its current state. But that's where I've moved more into that area. So,
there's a sort of an interesting thing with you and your videos. You're one of the only people within this sort of community that goes after Islam quite heavily.
Mm-hmm.
Do you any kind of backlash from that community?
I get backlash from Islamic community, from Muslims. I do get that. I also get it massively from atheists, on the left, very far left. They think I'm being disingenuous when I say, no, they really do believe X, or here's the polls, here's the studies. I get a lot of hit from it, but it needs to be said. In England, for example, there's cases where there's grooming gangs, and what they're doing is they've basically been raping young females in England, and it's brushed under the carpet. It's not published. It's hidden because of political correctness. Because whatever reason, I'm not entirely sure. It's odd.
Sure.
But the facts are there, and it really did happen. It's like, this is a real conspiracy. This is really odd. And then you couple that with what most Muslims purport to believe. Most Muslims are very much against the LGBT community.
Right.
Merely saying they are gets me hate from both the LGBT community in some extent and from the religious. And to me, I kind of let it go past me. I'm just going to keep speaking what I know to be true, and I'll listen to good arguments and change my mind should they come.
That's bizarre. How do you take it when essentially you're having people, atheists, people from the LGBTQ community, who are defending a religion, so to speak, against what their actual actions are? Why do you think that is the case? Like, where does that stem from?
I think it's a conflict of interests that they have. Most people are just trying to do the best that they can. I operate on that assumption. People believe earnestly what they're saying, and they normally have really good intentions. It's just they may be wrong on a certain fact, or they may be wrong on a certain interpretation. The problem, I think, stems from the type of politics you get more on the left, if I'm honest, which is like identity politics, where, for example, the principle isn't necessarily equality. It might be the principle is women's rights. Women should have jobs, or women should have a better situation. And then they might have a situation where they then say immigrants should have better jobs, they should have a situation. And then when there's a situation where there's a conflict between those two, there's no logical way to move through that, because their principles are just, they won't work in that conflict. Right. They only work when it's separated. I think of that happens. But I know that everyone means something, so I just try and go into it as best I can, really.
You do well with that. So, last question, and I'll let you go. So there's several people that want to talk to you. Who are you most excited to see at Faithless Forum?
Gosh, there is so many. Yeah, I've seen Rachel Oates. You see, I sit next to her on the
speaking of
on the plane.
Well, woman, you're playing the part of a woman tomorrow, I hear, right? That's perfect.
Yeah.
Hopefully, will you join us next?
Yeah, of course.
Oh, so we have this question: who were you most excited to see?
I thought I'd nearly got away with it.
No, not so.
Oh, gosh, it really is everyone, but I know that's just shit answer. So I'm
going to allow that though, because
you're supposed to say Kyle. This is what he's fishing for. Got to say Kyle. There you go. See?
Yeah, man. But I think that I've always enjoyed your stuff. I think that you take on issues that are important and in a way that most people don't. So it's a pleasure to have you sit here and meet you. This is great. Cool. Rationality rules.
Woo! One of my favorites too.
You can applaud. Hey, Ocean.
I'm drinking a little bit of wine.
Sure.
Yay, another fave.
Yeah, I have no idea how to pronounce it. I just like it. Yeah, Riesling.
You just made. I don't know if you heard Steve Williams.
Oh, Steve.
Yeah, it's funny. He's like, oh, hi, Steve.
So we have Rachel Oates with us. Lovely Rachel Oates. Are you enjoying your time here?
Oh yeah, very tired, a little bit tipsy. I'm good.
Nice. I'm a little bit tipsy myself.
Yeah?
It takes like 2 to get.
Okay.
I'm a very lightweight.
This is like, I'm not even halfway through my second glass of wine, but I've just had like so little sleep, so little food. It's just hitting me.
By the way, I love her hair color.
Oh,
it's amazing.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
It's amazing. So,
a little bit orange.
I want to talk to you, if you don't mind, a little bit about the recent interview. I think it was important. And you did a very good job of the one about the EA video.
Oh yes.
You did a very good job, I think, of not making it about individual. It was more about sort of the things that, which I think is important, so that you don't sort of cross over and.
Like, obviously it was disappointing what he said,
sure.
But what is worse is that it's not just him saying it. There's a whole community of people who think that way, and we can't just call out individuals. We need to call out the words and the actions. Right. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I think that's what's important, because sometimes the things people say get lost on the individual, and not so much on what exactly they say. you've been doing YouTube for a while, and I love it when you read your mean comments. Where do you think some of this line of, I think, especially, it's shocking when it happens to the atheist side. You know, we expect it from. Where do you think that stems from?
The mean comments.
Mm-hmm. Or just people's ideas that are sort of with the direction that they take. Where do you think that stems from?
I think a lot of it is about insecurity, and I know that from personal experience. I know when I was unhappy with myself, I lashed out more often than I do now. And I think a lot of it is if someone challenges you and you don't like, or if someone challenges you and it makes you feel insecure, if someone challenges you and it knocks your confidence, or something that you've thought your entire life, like a religious belief, or even something like a homophobic belief that you don't believe is homophobic, but it's something you've been taught. If someone challenges you and you don't like it, that's going to make you insecure, and you're going to lash out at them.
Absolutely.
And if you can't pick a fault if they can't pick a fault in your argument, they're going to pick a fault in you.
Right. I was told the comment that is made when we first started, and the chat's going to go crazy, but I had somebody tell me that I look like a discount garden gnome.
Oh.
Not just a garden gnome, a discount one.
Yeah, but that's the kind of one I buy.
So let me ask you this. You do a brilliant job also of like sort of the stiff upper lip of these mean comments. Like you are a genius with the way that you react. Does that get hard? And like, do you ever sort of feel that they get to you?
Usually it's getting easier. When I first started, I would literally sit and cry for hours. And
really?
I know I shouldn't admit that, but yeah.
Okay.
I would literally for hours of things, especially things that hit on my insecurity. So stupid stuff like about my teeth. People thought that, like, you know, I wasn't as smart as so-and-so, I wasn't as eloquent as so-and-so. Like, that would hit me because they were the things that I was thinking.
Right.
And they were reinforcing the things I had in my head. Whereas now, I've got all this community around me and all these people. When people are like, oh, well, you know, you're not as eloquent as Steve. I'm like, it's okay, I don't have to be. I've got other strengths that he doesn't have, and he has strengths that I don't have. Or when people are like, you're not as assertive as Alex, I'm like, again, it's okay, I don't have to be.
Right.
Like, I'm the human empathetic side, and Alex is more about some logic and assertiveness. And we're amazing in our own right.
Absolutely.
And so I don't let things move me so much because there's a place for all of us. And just kind of as I've grown in confidence, those things don't affect me anymore. If someone makes a comment about my teeth, I'm like, it doesn't matter, that doesn't impact what I'm saying. It just means being a bit of a douche.
Yeah, your comments back are it's so funny to watch you do that. So what was it that made you decide to get up one day and do YouTube? What made you make your first video?
So I initially started doing like makeup stuff just for fun.
Oh, cool.
Pass the time. Yeah. And then I was like looking for stuff about the UK general election in like 2017, something like that. I can't remember what it was. And I couldn't find any young women in the UK talking about it, and that's what I really wanted to watch. So I just made it myself.
Excellent. And the sort of changeover into more of a religious aspect.
Well, that's the kind of stuff I've always enjoyed, like talking about, thinking about myself. So I was like, well, if people like me ranting about my opinions on this thing, what if they like it about other stuff?
Sure.
And then Godless Cranium found me, and he has been an amazing like support and encouragement like the whole time, and he's just been incredible.
He's amazing. How do you feel about what happened to him and his channel with YouTube?
Oh, the demonetization,
yeah.
Ridiculous.
That's
Ridiculous.
The other thing that I wanted to.
Can I just like?
Oh yes.
Sorry,
please.
I'm just gonna say, before my channel got really big, YouTube made me creator of the day. They literally promoted my channel on the featured page.
Really?
Yeah. They gave me this like massive spot. They promoted some of my videos. One of the videos was literally mocking Christian, you know, my morning with Jesus routines. It was a parody of that, and YouTube promoted that. So why won't they monetize Mike's channel?
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm glad you said that. I didn't know that. That's I think a lot of it has to do with the way that they worded that letter to him. It sounded like almost that he was. The fact that he was, you know, videos, other people's videos.
But I do that.
Most of us do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the whole thing about response videos. I don't know why he was targeted.
I feel like as much as they want to say it's the algorithms and this and this. I think a lot of it is a personal thing.
Sure.
And they see someone like Mike using maybe like